All right, Shalom. Want to say call halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makakodash, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders at Jam Master Rule Well. Peace and blessings to the Akim that's out there fighting, doing this work with truth and sincerity. Back here again with a quick lesson. Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect men out there that are listening and watching these videos. As you see amongst Israel, you got these camps going off again on the doctrine. They never once had the true doctrine, but they are just unruly kids, man. They learned from the apostles and the bishops, the elders, and then now they go astray, adding to the scriptures, taking away from the scriptures, break it down. Luke wrong, John the Baptist, like everything they doing is really they just trying to sow discord because they want some attention. They want to be seen. Now, before the Lord allowed us to wake up, we didn't have an understanding, or I didn't have an understanding. Now, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, like the Bible is written, that his people have a zeal. Like we know not to do certain things, but we still was going off because we didn't know a lot of things as pertaining to the scriptures, right? So we was once out there not knowing anything, like it says here in the GNT, Titus 3:3, for we ourselves were once foolish of not having this wisdom and knowledge and understanding, because we thought the way we was living was right or decent, right? Well, I'm not going to sell a lot of drugs, I sell a little drugs. Or, well, your girl chose me, but deep inside, man, that it was wrong, but we still ignored it because that was that animal-like instinct. And that's what these guys have who's breaking down the scriptures wrong, coming up against the men of the Lord, right? Sowing discord because they have this human instinct, this animal-like instinct. An animal don't have no wisdom and knowledge and understanding, but the Lord have to give you that. So a lot of guys is operating in the animalistic mindset, a natural mindset, like in 1 Corinthians. I'm going to bring that out. But for we ourselves were once foolish, Titus 3:3 in the GNT. For we ourselves were once foolish, we were disobedient to our parents and to the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Habashai. Yeah, we would go to church. Some brother was in choir, some brother was deep in the church, but you still wasn't fulfilled. I got baptized one time, man, and shit, the same night went out in the street, started hanging with the homies and shit. I'm thinking I'm gonna go get this feeling. You back smoking weed and shit. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't know anything. We was foolish and disobedient, and we was wrong. We were slaves to passions, and pleasures of all kind. What's pleasing to the flesh. So these guys are not coming through the spirit. They coming as a natural man. And they saying things what's pleasing to the flesh. So they don't comprehend the spiritual things. And the carnal mindset can't intertwine with the spiritual mindset. Now that I see the Lord allow me to wake up to see how this thing really works, it's all spiritual at the end of the day. And look, I'm still learning as we go, right? For we ourselves in the GNT, Titus 3:3, were once foolish, disobedient, and wrong. We were slaves to passions and pleasures of all kind, man. You're a teenager going to house parties, you're drinking, smoking weed, thinking you're grown, got all these women, yada, yada, yada. You thought that was the way life should be. But that's fulfilling the passions of the flesh, right? We spent our lives in malice and envy and envying others. No, so like we spent our lives in malice and envy. Others hated us and we hated them. Some of us is in gangs, being around guys in gangs, being around drug dealers, or just being out in the streets, being just causing mischief, thinking that this is the right way to go, right? So we didn't operate in the spirit. I didn't know. Again, you have this zeal. Not now. I didn't know it was zeal at the time, but something was in you like, nah, man. So, a lot of it, hell, without this wisdom and knowledge and understanding, we was operating like brute beasts at the end of the day. Back here in 1 Corinthians 2:14, but the natural man receiveth not the things of the spirit of Yahweh by Shema Bashar, for they are foolishness unto him. So being disobedient and foolish and wrong in the world, we didn't know that we was being rebellious, right? So we was coming in a natural mind state. We was coming with, again, human reasoning when it comes to the scriptures and human instincts. So he was a natural man. I was a natural man at one time. I couldn't receive things of the spirit. You would hear things, but nothing wasn't resonating with you because it wasn't time. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the spirit of the Most High, for they are foolishness unto him. And that's how a lot of these guys are operating, because they're not operating with a spiritual sense. They're operating with human reasoning and having human instincts, right? So the spiritual things of Yahweh Bahashim Habashai is foolishness unto a man that's not spiritual. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the spirit of the Most High, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. And we came from that. The difference is this. We came from that, right? Now, Yahweh Bahashim Habashai knows every spirit that was created. So they know the spirit that's going to receive this, that was going to be having a contrite mindset, that was gonna, whatever, it's in Ezekiel. Man, they knew something was wrong in this world. So the Lord had those particular spirits, the remnant, Lord willing, we those men, the hopefully elect, that the Lord took these men through a lot of things, and at the right amount of time, during their lifetime, he was gonna wake them up. And how? This is John 6, about the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of scriptures, by sending the apostles and the elders and the men you see before you and the bishops. And they're taught the elders, the apostles, King Mashal, High Priest Ariah, Abba Bivens, you see, back in the mid-60s. So I wasn't born in the mid-60s. And then when the apostle came on the scene, we still didn't know nothing. Now, when the Lord sent those men out on the highways and byways, because that's a commandment to go out on the highways and byways. So the spirit started to work. So right here, John 6 and 63, and I'm assuming this is, Yahweh Shah speaking this red letter. It is the spirit that quickeneth. So we was out there in the world not knowing until the Lord until Yahweh Bahashim Habashai put his spirit upon us, right? To quicken us. He gave us that breath, which is the spirit. So it is the spirit that quickeneth, meaning it's the spirit of Yahweh Yahushua that makes you alive. You come from a spiritual dead state to a living spiritual mindset. You come from a spiritual death to a spiritual living mindset, because we were spiritually dead, not knowing anything. And these guys don't understand and see that. They think they top scholars, now they know a few precepts that they got from the apostles and the bishops. Now they scholars, now they starting their own thing, and you just leading the people wrong. Like, this is very important to properly give the right sound, the right doctrine to the Lord's people who is lost. Because the scriptures speak about in the book of Isaiah chapter 1, the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the whole head is sick, man. And you guys sowing doubt. And you know Jake is vulnerable, man. The Israelites. Jake will take anything as a doctrine and run with it. You know? Man, Tupac, man, you know, he was deep. We all thought he was deep on some level. Now, something then with the spirit like this trumps everything. So it's the spirit that quickens you. And you have to get that from Yahweh Bashimah Mashah, man. Then you would come out of that spiritual dead state that you was in, once in. So the spirit alone gives you life. So it's the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh, being a natural man, coming with human reasoning, having a human instinct when he's trying to deal with spiritual things, right? The flesh, the mindset, profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. Then you become quickened, you made alive. Now you're starting to see things through spirit, how things work. Now you're starting to understand the Bible. Now you're being taught, now you're being spoon-fed the scriptures, meaning the milk. You understand the milk there, and you grow thereby to get the deeper breakdowns, and you keep that path and stand humble and don't get puffed up. So a lot of guys get this understanding and get puffed up, but they're not spiritual. They're not coming in the spiritual mindset because the Lord hasn't quickened them. And also, real quick, right here in Ephesians 4 and 23, just a quick, it says, and be renewed. I'm just going to get to right here. and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. I was thinking about the word renew. I know it's going, re-mean is back, to be new, right? To be refreshed. So imagine
Strong's G365. Ananeo.
Ananeo in the Greek, to renew in the mind. So a lot of people think that being spiritual and understand the scriptures, you got to be some kind of brainiac. No, it's got to be the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shema Shai that rests upon you. And now we know this thing, it starts in the mind. That's heavy to me. I feel it with all my heart, where the word heart in the Hebrew meaning la is la, but meaning your mind. So this is the ultimate mind game here. Your thought process has to change. It's simple as your thought process has to be changed. It's just like being renewed again, right? Meaning back, right? Or again, back again. You have to be new in the spirit of your mind, man. Be refreshed. So in the Latin, the word, I was looking at the word renovation. In Latin, the word renovation is meaning again, and no in the Latin, navari, meaning make. So the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai telling you to be renewed in the spirit of your mind, you have to basically be renewed in the mind. Your thought process has to change. You have to go back and stand ye in the old paths, right? Meaning back. So your mind has to be changed, man. So the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shema Shai is trying to renovate Jake's mind. So when you renovate something, you want to improve a space. So in order for you to see spiritual things, the Lord has to, first of all, bring it back to remembrance, right? And you have to be renewed in your mind, meaning your mind needs to be renovated at the end of the day. Make anew, make refresh. And then on top of that, once you renew your mind, like when you renovate a house or a building or whatever, when you renovate that, okay, it looks fresh, it's nice, it's structured well, it's clean, everything is in its proper place. But to maintain that renovation, you have to what? Do the upkeep. So what's the spiritual upkeep for the men of the Lord who's been renewed in the spirit of their mind? By properly going through the scriptures, listen to your elders that's been before you for years and decades, the elders and the bishops. Be humble, right? And be willing to learn. Put away the carnal mindset and go with the renovation of the mind, meaning a new mindset, to be renewed, to remember the things in the past, because the Most High said he required that which is past. So we have to stand in the old paths to be able to understand the spiritual aspect of the Bible, man. Because Jake has been gone so far into this world, mentally and spiritually, to the point they engulf themselves in the ways of this life. But this is not the way of life. The spirit of, the wisdom and knowledge and understanding is the way of life. Stand ye in the old path, Jeremiah 6:16. But Jake said they don't want to do that. They want to come up with their own righteousness in the book of Romans chapter 10:3. But we wasn't here to come up with our own exit plan for salvation. The exit plan for salvation is the Bible and the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of it, and follow that path. Psalms 25, lead me in thy paths, man. That's what we ask the Lord, because we was walking contrary to the world. We was walking contrary to the Bible, right? Because we was walking the standard way of the world, so to speak. But that's not the way to go. So the Lord is trying to renovate your mind, to refresh your mind, because what? It all starts with a new mindset. When you have a new mindset, your outlook is different. When you see a different outlook, your perspective is different. When you operate in the spirit, now you see the whole playing field as to what's going on. You get the proper breakdowns, you get the proper understanding, and you know the true nature of Yahweh by Hashem Abishai. See, these guys don't have that understanding of knowing the true nature of Yahweh by Hashem Abishai, man, because they are carnal minded. They are the natural man. They come in with human reasons. With human reason, they're not allowing the Lord to renovate their mind, man, at the end of the day, man, to improve their mindset. So Lord willing, I hope this is edifying. Until the next time, I shall say, Shalom.